call our next guest. He's waiting patiently. Mr. Big Ed Beckley. So I'm dialing this. Here we go. Let's see if this works.
Hello, Ed Beckley here.
There he is, Mr. Big Ed Beckley. Welcome to Totally Driven Radio.
You man, I'm glad to be here.
Oh, we're glad to have you. I am so excited by this.
I only got a couple rules. You ready for them?
Okay.
Only ask the question if you could stand the answer.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Okay. Yeah, ask anything you like, man. You're in PA, so, you know, people from Pennsylvania, they never say Pennsylvania. Always PA.
It's always PA. It is. It's always
right.
PA.
Yeah,
that's because we're lazy.
Yeah, I did a bunch of jumping all over that state at sprint car tracks and stuff like that back in the early 80s, and then also jumped at the Spectrum in like 1990. So, cool place.
Yeah.
Love it up there.
Yeah, you know, I'm sad to say, like, I really never heard of you until recently. Like, you.
Well, I hadn't. You bet. Well, from 1994 up until 2012, I hadn't done anything but promote monster truck shows and stuff like that. And in 1994, I got involved with my kids racing and all that. Well, now he's, you know, doing his own deal and stuff like that. And I lost 100 pounds and decided to get in shape and start jumping again. And I saw this bike that was on in this magazine, and it was one that Jeremy McGrath was riding, and McGrath was a big pro supercross racer forever for Honda. Anyway, this thing was a big giant Harley and a hill climber, and he was riding this Nitro Harley in Montana up this hill, and I thought, wow, that'd be way cool. I'd start jumping if I could get one of them, and found this guy in California, Bert, and BTR Moto, and stands for Big Twin Racing, and Kurt Winter, and rock and roll this 2100cc Harley Davidson engine, put that thing in a custom built frame, and I started jumping again.
So,
wow.
So how much are you weighing now? Because your whole thing is you're the biggest daredevil in the world, and the ones I was seeing, the videos and all, you were 325 pounds. So how much are you weighing in at now?
I actually got up to 389 when I was jumping, but a few more extra Krispy Kremes, and it got me right up there at 390 mark. But right now I'm right at 285, 290, and you know, I eat pretty healthy right now, and I've learned to keep this water off of me, get rid of the salt and all that stuff, and you know, I've got about another 40 pounds now to lose. I'm going to get a personal trainer where we've been talking, a couple of them, and so we'll start notching that off of me, and 40 won't be any trouble to beat down. So I'd like to get down to about 250, 260. I haven't been that small since I was a sophomore in high school.
Now, you started jumping back in the early 70s, am I correct?
Right. 1973 was the first year that I ever jumped, and it was pretty cool. In 71, I went to see a man I'm sure everybody's heard of, Evel Knievel, and he was at the Kansas State Fair, which is in Hutchinson, Kansas, right dead center in the state, and that's where I'm from, is Kansas. And you know, he was right in the middle of his heyday, a huge amount of people there. He'd just done the TV, you know, done the movie and stuff like that, and had his Harley deal, and at that time he was with Kenworth Trucks, and boy, he had the lifestyle of, you know, the rich and famous and everybody else in between. And
right.
You know, I watched him jump and watched him wheelies and stuff, and my buddies were all going, you can do better wheelies than that, and I could, but anyway, I could do pretty good. And so then they watched him jump, and he made it, and everybody's like, well, you can do that. Why don't you do that? And so we came home, and I went to the lumber yard and bought $14 worth of used 2x4s, cut them babies up, and made a takeoff ramp out of it.
Now, what was your first jump that you did? What's the first thing you jumped?
First time that I did a professional jump for money was over in a little town called Dighton, Kansas. It's spelled Dighton, way out in western Kansas, only 24 miles from my hometown of Scott City. And anyway, I went over there and jumped at this VFW was putting on this demolition derby. And, well, I mean, they were expecting like 600 people. I mean, the town's only 1,800. There's not more than 4,500 in the whole county. Anyway, we drew over 2,000 people.
Wow.
Huge deal. And I jumped 3 times. I jumped over, 4 times. Jumped over 3, then 4, then 5, then 6 full-size cars, and could have jumped 10 or 15 easily. But, the deal was I used my head way back when. I decided I didn't want to crash this thing, and paid a lot more to make these jumps than it did to go to the hospital. So anyway, made some pretty good money that night. I made a giant $350, which back then that was more than you made in a whole week.
Sure.
So yeah, and I did that in just a few short minutes and all the above. So that's when I fell in love with that kind of deal, and so I started booking myself at circle tracks and drag strips and stuff all over the United States. And just like at your area down there, I've jumped at Jennerstown Speedway and over to Hagerstown and Penn National Drag Strip and all those places. And I would leave in like this January, middle of January, and go down to Florida for what they call Speed Weeks, and they run all these circle tracks and stuff for down there for all them snowbirds up there from Ohio, Michigan, basically, and all them race fans go down there and get them another dose of racing, and so everybody goes down there and races in the wintertime, and so I got to go around and put on shows at these circle tracks and stuff, and started signing contracts at this promoters convention. Next thing you know, I've got 50-some shows a year. So
wow.
It kept me real busy for quite a while.
Now, did you ever get the chance to meet Evel Knievel himself, or?
Yeah, just briefly. And then he sent me a Christmas card or two. I'd write to him, and his P.O. box was 777 and in Butte, Montana. And I think I still probably got a couple of those envelopes laying around, and a little letter where he wrote it and sent it back to me and stuff like that. But I met him
at all?
Go ahead.
Was he upset at all when you started jumping? Like, did he think you were
Oh
trying
no, no, there wasn't that many of us doing that back then. I mean, myself and Bob Gill and Evel and Super Joe Einhorn, and there was 4 or 5 more, and there would be some guy, that where Evel had jumped or where I jumped or something. The next year you came back and, oh, hey, I was here and I saw you, and I started jumping cars, and you'd hear about them doing 2, 3 shows, and they'd be phased out, find out how easy it is not to book yourself and all that. So, yeah, I mean, and people, it tends to wear you out telling that same old story. How'd you get started and what did you do and all that stuff.
Right.
That's why I more or less took a break from 94 up until 2012 as I just really got tired of being on the road and wanted to do this thing and come home and be a parent, and so I'm done with all that. Now I'm ready to get back on the road and do some of these things, and we got a couple of them coming up that we're working on, and one of them's Wembley Stadium. I don't know if I'm going to get that deal done or not, but
wow.
I really want to go there and jump the 13 buses that Evel crashed at. His bike was top plumb smooth out to when he came down that ramp. There was no way that XR750 needed one more gear to shift up to, and you could tell as he went and made a couple 4 or 5 speed runs on the other bike, and he really didn't have a safe way to do speed runs, but he'd come at it, and he just felt like he needed to be able to grab more power, and he came down that dang takeoff ramp and gassed it up. Next thing you know, it's revved up as far as it's going. It ain't going any faster, and he went off that takeoff ramp. He had no way not to. I mean, that was a bad deal there. They had that kind of set up wrong, and because he couldn't turn to the left or to the right and miss him. He was about 8 foot off the ground, on flatbed trailers and stuff that were jacked up. So yeah, that's why he crashed. I mean, he was short probably about I'd say 5 miles an hour maybe. Been 5 miles an hour more, he'd landed on the backside of them buses and been a hero. instead of being out there with a broken pelvis and stuff like that, and had to tough guy that deal out. Boy, he toughed it out when he walked up that landing ramp and said goodbye to the people, And but that's the way Evel was. He was a tough son of a gun.
Yeah, I remember actually seeing the crash when he didn't make it at the the fountains at was Caesar's Palace?
Right.
Yeah, and then I know another guy tried to jump it years later, and he looked like he actually made the same mistake that Knievel did.
Well, Gary Wells was the only other guy that's crashed there, and of course he blames the Knievels for moving his landing ramp in the middle of the night. But that was all a bunch of crap. There's no way. I mean, if you ever go to Vegas, the Caesar's Palace got more security than the airport does. Nobody's out there moving him. He came down there and got all squirrely and got crooked going up that takeoff ramp, and that CR 500 he was on, really light, and it twisted in the air, and his back tire landed off of the landing ramp, and his front tire landed on the landing ramp. And when he put his left foot out, the left handlebar come down and broke his leg right there.
Wow.
And then it just peeled him off that bike and smashed him into that concrete doing about 75, 80 mile an hour. Yeehaw, buddy. About killed him.
No, I never heard the story that he blamed the Knievels. That's insane. I can't believe.
You can look that up on the internet. Yeah, he blamed them. Said that somebody, Evel had his crew out there, moving the ramps or something like that. And Gary was a piece of work. He still is a piece of work.
Yeah, you never really heard much out of him after that.
He did a few more things and stuff, but the media just didn't really grasp that guy. I mean, he had a lot of stories and all this, but he was the best, and he was this, and he was that, and that might have worked back in the 70s, but now, if you're full of yourself, you're the only one that is. It's now got to play this the right way. So. Anyway, and be yourself and be real. Me, I'm from Puckerbrush, Kansas, and I live in Puckerbrush, Texas. Hey, I am what I am,
So the big news to come out of this week, though, is you won the bid to lease Snake River Canyon to do the jump that Evel Knievel failed at.
Well, today I sent him $943,000 wire transferred it to the bank in Boise, Idaho, for the state of Idaho. So that $943,000 was our bid, and which we've already paid him $25,000 for the rent. You actually pay two different payments. You pay a rental payment at $25,000 a year to use this 1,100 acres, and then I had to bid to pay that. So it got a little out of hand. People were playing with a lot of funny money, is what my guess is, that they were bidding money that they didn't have, and thinking, we're going to get a TV contract and all that stuff. And there was a couple. There was 3 television producers there.
Okay.
That were in the bidding deals, and they were all, like the one guy had done the stuff of Finding Bigfoot and some of those shows, and the other guy had done some stuff with parachute stuff and things like that, and surf deals and stuff, and an extreme type sports deal, So anyway, they and ABC was there. They didn't bid, but boy, they were there, and we got a contract with them the week before that event, and that thing made a big loud thud noise at the bottom of the trash can. But looks like we might have maybe worked out something with them that we're on hold right now with them and another one. So we've it's more than my wildest dreams. I can't believe this is going to happen.
Now, we were talking about it earlier, and Bay and I grew up huge fans of Daredevils. And we were talking about the big spectacles they used to make of these jumps. And that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping they do that again. I'd love to see a a Friday or Sunday night special with you jumping the Snake River Canyon. I'll be sitting right in front of my TV with my popcorn and enjoying every second because it brings back such great memories.
Well, we're working right now for like a 6-part up to 13-week special, 13-week series. It'd be like the Road to Snake River type thing, and then that'll be more or less like a reality show, showing the building and of the bike and the testing of it and parachute stuff that we've got to do and some aeronautical stuff that we have to do and all that and all this drama that if you'd have been in my office today or yesterday, it'd have blowed you away. I mean, all the deals that were going back and forth and my phones were ringing off the wall. I got 5 lines here and a fax line. Every one of them were busy, and my cell phone was in the middle of that too. So, it's crazy how everybody is saying right now that this is going to be the most watched television show ever in the history. And so one of the people that was bidding actually told me straight up, we believe this is going to be bigger than the Super Bowl next year. So when you think about it, I mean, there's a lot of history about this thing. People some of them are still old enough or not too old to have forgotten this deal. So, but just, the sheer magnitude of jumping over a 1,600-foot canyon. It's a volcanic canyon, basically. I mean, this thing's made out of volcanic rock. It's the nastiest canyon you ever seen. Some of them got, a little bit of rock and trees and grass, and it ain't nothing like that at this place. It's full-on nasty, so going to be, everybody knows, I mean, one little flitch and somebody's going to die.
Well, hopefully that's not going to happen.
Yeah, hoping not. That's exactly right. But you know what? Well, Linda could have made a bad step off in the canyon, too. So,
that's
yeah,
true.
He didn't have any safety stuff. None.
Right.
So we're going to have some safety stuff, but the sheer speed and all that we're going to do is going to cause enough problems, So if something gets haywire, you don't have much time to react. And the oh wow factor, I'll just put it that way. You can imagine what I'm getting ready to say. Not, oh, you know what? I'm saying, oh wow. Anyway, it's over with about that time. You got 3.4 seconds of that rocket is burning, and it's a solid rocket. It's what it is, and wow, it puts out lots of power, and you're going real fast, real fast.
Now, wasn't Evel's son Robbie trying to do this too? Because he had been saying it for the last few years that he
came and met with the city and stuff like that. In fact, he was hooked up with Truax's son, Scott Truax, and they were hooked up and gonna do this thing. And Robbie kind of came in as he does with his little entourage and all this stuff, all of his hanger-oners basically. And anyway, he came in and kind of told the city, "Hey, I'm Robbie Knievel. I'm the biggest and best there ever was, and I'm gonna jump the Snake River Canyon. What are you gonna do to help me?" Well, right away, oh boy, did he find some bad sentiment. Right away, the mayor says, "I don't know about anybody else, but the first thing you can do is start paying some of the bills that your old man left here the last time he was here."
Oh.
And yeah, so they really didn't want to talk about it, but I just don't think Robbie's physically able right now. He's having some bad times. His life is plumb full of demons. That guy is got to be the most unhappiest guy in the world to throw that whiskey down like he does. And we all know and heard about the Sturgis, South Dakota deal. I was there.
Right.
I know what happened, and it was a bad deal. I mean, and how he got out of there with a $900 fine, that just surprised the heck out of you. If you were anybody else and you got a DUI in Sturgis, South Dakota, believe me, they'd be piping light to you.
Well, let me ask you the same question. I met Robbie back, it was probably in the late 80s at like one of the World of Wheel car shows. He was making an appearance there. And I asked him a question. I'm going to ask you the same exact question I asked him. after all these years of jumping, what makes you keep getting on that bike to keep doing it?
It's fun. I'm still having fun at it, and I love performing in front of the crowd, and I like to jazz them, and I like the letters that they'll send you. And, I jumped up at Harley Shop in Fayetteville, Arkansas, just recently, and there was several thousand people there. It was a big deal, and we got to meet a lot of good people and made some good friends. Actually, there's a couple of them that can join me on my Snake River team, and you just getting to travel around and do that kind of stuff. It beats a real job real bad.
That was his answer right there.
Yeah,
That's
it beats
exactly
the real job real fast, and the fame and notoriety doesn't hurt anything either. It's But as far as Robbie knowing what a real job is, I don't know how he would ever known that.
Well, he said usually if he would think about not jumping, he would end up doing construction work, and he said a day on the construction site made him realize he wanted to jump again.
I was going to say, I don't think that boy had a real job much, So that's not cutting him down. I mean, that's truthful, yeah. But like I say, if you listen to that interview he did, oh my God, that just slit his own throat. I mean,
that was bad.
I'm a drunk and I'm a cowboy. I'm an outlaw. And I'm a drunk and I drive drunk. Wow.
Yeah,
I don't know. That wasn't good. So I pray for him. I hope he gets everything straightened out. I'd love to see him jump this thing.
Now, when you have a date
set, you got that many demons, and the safety precautions you got to take. It may not be the right time because your mind's got to be 100% into this. I mean, I could just imagine the preparation, and as a lot of guys who've done this have found out, one miscalculation and you're kissing concrete.
Well, or you're kissing the north wall of that canyon. When we're doing this, but I've been hurt big time, bad. So,
I just actually saw. I don't know where it was from, but I saw it on YouTube. The one crash where you ended up in the ICU, and I mean that for me that would have been the end.
Well, that was the first time I'd come back too from all those years, and that bike's sitting right on my credenza in my office here in Texas, and it'd been sitting there since 1994, and in 2012 we rolled it off of there and cleaned it up and changed the oil and the gas and had the suspension guy redo it and all that stuff, and took it out there to Salt Lake because this big bike wasn't done yet, and took that out there and said, heck, we'll just jump this one, and wham, hit face first into the landing ramp. Not good. Not good.
Yeah, to be honest with you, if we weren't talking to you right now and I knew nothing else, I wouldn't have thought you could even walk after seeing that.
Oh, it was a bad deal. I mean, and you know what? It really didn't screw up. It did screw up my right leg right above my knee. I mean, I've got a vein broke there. It's all tore up, and where it smashed the handlebar down into the top of my knee, just back from my knee is what it did, about 4 inches back. So thank God for shin guards. I had almost like baseball shin guards on, and so it kept it from, taking my knee off. But wow, that was a lucky deal. And I was when I went in there, I was only breathing 48% because my oxygen levels was terrible because my lungs wouldn't inflate. I mean, there was no way they could. They were all bruised and swollen and all the above, and I got hurt really bad at that one. I almost died. So we jacked around there for a couple of days, and the doctor said, well, you can't get out. I said, how do I get out of this thing? He goes, you ain't getting out of here till you blow a 94. And I said, what? He goes, yeah, you got to take that thing, and right now you're only at 81 or something. Well, overnight I worked my ass off, to put it plainly, and huffing and puffing on that thing, and got myself up to when he walked in, I blew a 96. And it blew him away. So two things blew too much. I blew it more than what I needed to do, and it blew him away. He said, Ed Beckley, you're one crazy son of a gun. He said, did you stay up all night working on that? And I said, hell yes, I did. And I said, I want to go home. I want to go home. I said, I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I'm the hell out of this place. So I went home. And you know how I got home? I had to drive my Ford Excursion, pulling my ramps all the way home. Yeah, so that was a cool deal. All by myself.
Now, do you have a date set for this jump yet, or?
Yeah, oh yeah, September the 7th. Well, here's the deal. We're working the deal with basically, see that weekend is not Labor Day, what it was when Evel did it.
Okay.
So that Monday is actually the 40th year anniversary. Okay. So we've told them, as long as we get that thing off by 7 Mountain Time, we can do it on Monday, which is prime time. They could get more per commercial on a Monday night than they can any other night in the United States, except maybe Thursday. Thursday's your most watched TV night. But doing that thing on Sunday night or Monday night, both those are pretty prime time, so they can get pretty good money. But Monday would be the best. So I don't know if that's what will happen, but that's the weekend that we're looking for. Is that? And I'd rather do it on that Sunday, just in case we get weather so bad we can't do anything. That way we can do it the next day or something like that.
So then we're shooting for September 7th, 2014, correct?
That's exactly right.
Wow.
And you said that there's possibly going to be a reality show leading up to the jump? That's what
the deal is. We're working on that right now.
That would be great. I'll tell you, I'd look for. I'd really love to see that because, like I said, when we were younger, we just saw the jump itself. We didn't see everything leading into it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think that would be really interesting to watch.
Well, and back then, when Knievel did that in '74, TV was way different than what it is now. I mean, there wasn't that much programming on it, and stuff.
Right.
So he when he did one of his jumps, I mean, it wouldn't just come out and jump. I mean, they talked and they showed old video and they did all this. They made a big deal out of it, which was cool. And so that's one thing that we want is right now I got to get people to know Ed Beckley, and see why they call me Big Ed Beckley, and just to see, to get the feeling of why I want to do this and all that. I want them to get to know us so that they can, we can be almost on first name basis that way, So.
Well, we're behind you here. We want to have you keep coming on throughout the year as we build up to this big jump.
Cool deal. We can do that.
I am so psyched for this. You know what?
Well, it's going to be cool. I don't know if you guys have been on my website yet and watched that video.
Okay.
But if you go to bigedbeckley.net, and right at the top it says the video everybody's been looking for. And it's actually the engineer's simulation of how this thing will go. And it is to scale. So if you go there and you turn your speakers on and you hear this motor, which sounds like a Harley, because it is in this thing, and I'm not lying, I'm not going to hide it. We are working with Harley. We haven't made our deal yet, so that's why you don't see Harley everywhere. But anyway, the bike starts shifting and we start moving, and you can tell that it's going about $170 at the bottom of that takeoff ramp, and you hear that rocket head in and all that. So go to bigedbeckley.net and get yourself all wound up. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's all sorts of stuff on that website.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
I
saw that.
Yeah, we put a link to that video on today promoting your appearance, and I was amazed watching it, and I'm just like, the guts that it's going to take for you to do this is unbelievable, and I was just blown away by the video on there. So
well,
I definitely
it's made me feel better about this whole thing. It really has, because it doesn't show me crash.
Two questions before we let you go.
Okay.
The one main question is, aren't you scared at all about this whole thing?
Let me put it this way. I'm not afraid of it. I think I'd be stupid if I wasn't scared a little bit. Scared pretty much heightens your intensity to do what the hell you need to do. You know? I mean, it's kind of like you walk out of a bar and there's 4 thugs there. And you get to noticing that one's drunk and one might have a knife and the other one's standing there, you know, off balance or whatever. And that's what this is. This thing can get me. It can be like the 4 thugs waiting on you outside the bar. You know, I mean, this thing can get me. So I got to make sure I'm not off balance. I got to make sure I got both eyes open. I got to make sure I'm doing everything right down to the countdown. So when I fire up that motorcycle and I touch that button and pound that rocket in, it lights that solid rocker booster. That when I go up that takeoff ramp, I got to be straight, lined up, not leaning to the left or to the right or any of that. I got to make sure that I'm on target, or else you and I won't be talking again. That's end of story.
We need to make sure we're talking again. So,
well, that's what I'm going to do. I plan on having a real good vacation after this is over, and looked at a place. I don't know if you guys know who Sammy Hagar is, but he's
of course
old buddy of mine, and he's down in Cabo San Lucas a lot, where he's got a bar at called Cabo Wabo, and told, you know, I got news the other day, hey, there's a place up there by him for sale. So it's gonna take some money, and so I think we'll go make some and end up there.
Well, Sammy knows how to have a good time, so.
I got on my wall, one of my favorite possessions is I have a cape that was autographed by Evel Knievel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Bay today, I want a Big Ed autograph sitting right next to that and framed, because, like I said, we're so hyped about this and behind this, because this brings back great memories for both of us.
Yeah.
And we can't wait.
Me either. But we got to. So we got lots to do between now and then. Lots to do. Throwing $943,000 at it was the start. But actually it all started a year ago. Got to looking back at the emails and stuff today. And the first time I contacted the city of Twin Falls was September the 5th last year. So I've been working on this over a year, you know. And I still haven't really got a straight answer out of them guys. But that's okay. That's okay. I don't have to. I got agents and stuff that have, you know, working to make this happen, and that's all it took. So, yeah, we feel real excited. And I appreciate being on, and you guys hang out. Watch that website. There'll be some stuff that you might see, and if you send me a Facebook message, and I'm going to answer it and see if we can't get me back on to maybe answer. Now, what in the hell are you doing there? What is that about, right?
Yeah, we're gonna keep getting you back on, because I have a lot more questions to ask you. I want to get you back on here. I want to talk to you about the Trade Center jump that you were trying to plan and other stuff.
Boy.
I'm going to do a lot of investigating about you, and we're going to bring you back on and talk some more. But before we
let
you go, can you cut a quick ID for me? Say this is Big Ed Beckley, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
This is Big Ed Beckley, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio. Turn it up and rip the knob off.
Beautiful. Thank you, my friend. And
okay.
We'll be in touch soon, and we'll talk soon, and we got a year to wait now.
Just remember, I got a new motto. If it scares you, that means I'll do it. I'll see you now, guys. You guys have a good one.
You too. Take care.
All right, buddy. See you guys. Bye.
See ya. Oh, boy, Frank. How awesome is that?
And the fact that it's going to be a show leading up to, I'm even more excited now, and we're going to get the updates. How awesome is that?